We'll call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee DeBoer?
Here.
Trutchell?
Here.
Piper?
Here.
Walschlager? Here. Alquist?
Here.
Trustee Connor via Zoom? Can you hear us? Here. Okay. And President Fanner still.
Here. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, this is going to be led by Trustee Connor, who is on Zoom, so just listen for his start and we'll go from there. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, Rick.
Great job, Rick. All right. We now have public comments. Don't everybody go to the podium at once, but step towards the podium, form a line, and then we'll go one by one for public comments. I'm imagining what it looks like on the camera. People probably think there's 30 people in this room. Anybody on Zoom for public comments?
Nobody on Zoom. Just
All right. We have our first item tonight, which is a consideration of an approval of the minutes for the December 8th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for December 8th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the December 8th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have items related to the vouchers. We have a consideration of paying the vouchers in the amount of $104,031.30.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers for payment in the amount of $104,031.30.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the bills. Any discussion?
I have a couple questions. And I know Ryan's not here, so a couple of these I'm going to hold for him.
Zoom.
Well, this one's for fire. Pro Healthcare Medical Service, $980. What is that for?
Firefighter physicals. For the new hires, they have to have a physical drug screen.
Oh,
That was
oh.
like 3 of them.
Okay.
3 people for that.
Okay. And the other ones, I'll just ask Ryan at a later time. Thank you.
No, just say, are you okay with?
I am,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Anybody else for discussion on paying the vouchers?
I just wanted to reiterate my comment from the last meeting where we have another 15,000 for Von Briesen Roper. So, and I don't know what it's about. So I was just curious if they can maybe expand on what the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Ryan, are you able to expand for the board
Yeah.
at this time or not because you're via Zoom?
I can. I don't have it in front of me, but a couple thousand, I would say 4,000 of that is legal for the municipal building. The legal back and forth that we've had with Keller and everything associated with that. They're redoing the PUD for Sand Hill. We have the update of the PUD for the quarry that you guys amended a little bit ago. Some of the senior living, just some general meetings that we've had with them as well, but nothing out of the ordinary other than some developer items and then the new building.
Okay. And one of the things I'm going to ask, I think it's a fair thing to ask unless, Tim, you don't want it. And if others want it, they can ask for it or email Ryan. He'll be able to present it. But if an itemized on the legal could be sent to Tim or somewhat itemized, just a brief description as we come out with the agendas, only because, what was
I
that?
can have Tanya scan the invoice and send it to the board.
Okay.
I think if you want to make a qualifying amount, like anything over, you know, if it's a couple thousand, I don't care so much, but if it's, when it gets into the double digits, I'm just curious what we're spending it on, if it's something that we're going to get reimbursed for, or if it's, you know, that way we can monitor how much we're spending on whatever this issue is, and maybe we can go another route or whatever.
Well, I just thought it'd be a good idea if we do have them send out that invoice because then then we have the information. It makes it easier to discuss,
Okay.
Especially down the road if all of a sudden we think it's too much.
Ryan about those also. So, yeah, that would be nice.
I would agree. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Ryan, you're cool with that?
Yes, I'm cool with that. I'm just emailing Tanya right now to send it to you guys.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other discussion? Anything else? Trustee Hallquist?
No, I'm good.
Anybody else for discussion on the bills? We have the motion, and the second is on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. Now we have actions related to licenses and permits. We have a consideration of a bartender's application for Dayna Strebe. Anything, Chief? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm doing my best.
I'm not sure as well, but the only reason this is coming to you is she did have a couple OWIs. I did approve on the application, but because there's something in the background, it does come to the village board. She had 3 different arrests for OWI. Technically, though, I think she's only on her second offense because if there's that 10-year window between the two, it restarts at a first-year offense. So she had a arrest date of February of 97. July of 2007, and then just fell short of the 10-year mark and went September of 2016. So she has spread those out about every 10 years or so. Again, 2016 was her last arrest, so nothing recent, but it just comes to the board because there is something in the background. And again, I did approve it, reviewing this background comparable to what we've done in the past for others. And this would be for the inn.
I'll make a motion to approve the bartender application for Dayna Strebe or Strebe.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the bartender's license. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have a consideration of a special event application for Hartland Marsh Habitat Improvement on January 30th and 31st, 2026 by the Ice Age Trail Alliance.
This is for some improvements that the Ice Age Trail Alliance is planning for January 30th and 31st. They are planning about 75 people attending and serving food. And they are requesting that the fees be waived.
Is the food truck food being served, or are they just kind of making it and serving it?
They are providing it for their volunteers. So
Oh,
I don't know that this is even qualified, that they need a special event, but they just turned it in.
So just to clarify, so they're going to be doing some improvements.
Yep.
So they're getting volunteers to help do improvements. I feel that almost falls under, I don't know if it falls under special events, at least not in my category. They're getting together to do, it would, let's say each year, I know some communities do this, we got a bunch of people that do an annual cleanup of the ball fields. You know, they'll go and pick all the garbage out of the fences and stuff like that. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's really a special
agree.
event because it's,
They're providing the portable restrooms, it says. So maybe because of that, and because they're providing food.
They did not reach out to me ahead of time. I would not have required it, but they submitted it, so we're routing
Okay.
it through here to
Okay.
inform you.
Well, thank you, it's very nice.
no, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I hate to waive it and set the precedent when it really doesn't need to be a special event, but we can do however, whatever you guys think. If they're doing improvements, I see it slightly different than that they're getting together and like, hey, we're having a event where we're having a 3-mile walk and people can get sponsors and we're raising money for this.
I think they do it annually, actually, as well, so I think they did it last year as well. My only suggestion or question is, it apparently they're going to burn, so will they be in contact with you? Yes. Okay.
They're burning in the,
They're gonna burn the invasive species, they're gonna
Oh,
burn
okay.
them in, over there.
Yep.
So it's just, if the wind's too
Yep.
much, then, yeah, okay. Other than that, I think it's great that they're volunteering.
I do too.
Make a motion that we approve the special event application for the Hartland Marsh Habitat Improvement on January 30th and 31st, 2026 by Ice Age Trail Alliance.
Second.
Are you including the waiving of the fees?
Yes, I am including waiving the fees.
Is the second?
Second.
The motion is to approve the special event application for Hartland Marsh Habitat Improvements, including eliminating invasive species. With the fee being limited, I myself will be voting for allowing this. I don't think it has to be a special event. They're improving the village. To have them pay to improve the village, I think that'd be not appropriate.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Ice Age Trail is having a walk on the 30th that night, starting at Nixon Park, going down to the Wayside, if I'm not mistaken. 'Cause,
Right, I think that is the date of their hike.
yeah,
And both, are these are,
one's
hike is
maintenance and one's a.
is this
hike.
two separate events?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Just
hike
as
is
long, we might
separate
want to make sure they're
and-
talking to each other.
Yep. Obviously, they're not gonna be doing any maintenance at night.
Right.
And that's when the walk
Agreed.
is. So.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have other items. We have discussion and consideration of Waukesha County Joint Powers 911 Agreement.
This is
Chief
a
Nisco.
annual agreement that our dispatch center sends out. It's something that's sanctioned under state statute 256-35 sub 9, which kind of operates as an expander jurisdiction. It just says when you have a joint dispatch center, that if dispatch calls you for an emergency service, you will respond for that emergency service, even if it is outside of your jurisdictional area. And again, that's something that's a requirement under state statute, something that we sign every year. And we just look to sign that for both the remainder of 2025 and then moving forward for 2026.
I just have a question. Just curious, if we don't respond, or if a participant doesn't respond, is there a fine, or they just sit in that?
To my knowledge, there's no remedy under the statute.
I'm just curious.
I'd have to double check that under that statute, but I've never heard of an issue in my 22 years of policing.
Okay.
Chief, are you done? If this is mandatory, why do we have to sign it every year?
I think it's just so that there's an understanding that you're a part of this and that you're agreeing that you'll do it. I'm trying to see if they write anything else other than that. I don't see anything else in the agreement that would say why they would need it in writing every year.
We have a lot of paperwork, and I just was curious.
Yeah, and this is something we use for one of our accreditation standards, so it is something we do
Okay.
like to be in agreement with.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with continuing the Waukesha County Joint Powers 911 Agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Waukesha County Joint Powers 911 Agreement. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have, and I'm hoping we can discuss this a little bit before we jump into it, but however we do it, but we have discussion and consideration to increase board and committee member pay from 30 per meeting to 40 per meeting.
This was brought up at our last meeting.
This was. The only reason I'm saying I want to discuss it, I hope that instead of having to hit this thing, it's been, Tim or Ann can jump in and help as well. I mean, it's been quite a few years since this has been changed. It was I believe 15 years ago it was $40 a meeting. And that's a long, long time. I do personally believe that it should, no one's joining those meetings for the money. But I do believe it's appropriate to compensate someone and to keep things in line when they're giving the time and their talents that they are. I think everybody on every board, if it's once a month, and we're paying this by meeting, but I mean, realistically, let's just round it out. It takes an hour to go through the agenda and really look into stuff, maybe send some emails to the village board. Because remember, these other people that are on committees that aren't getting paid like we are. And, I just think we might want to go a little bit higher. It was at $30. Tim, what was it when you got on?
It was 25 when I started, and it went up to 30, and that's where I think it is right now.
So $25 when Tim started 30 years ago. I think the big thing is coming up with a number, but I think it's a minimum of 2 hours. And if we did 50, that's 25 an hour, but that's not, people drive here, and it's just something I figured I just wanted to kind of put it out there.
You're right, and it does take time to go through the packet, and there is some research on some of this, and I think 50 is reasonable as a minimum.
I do too. I think 50 would be a minimum if we've been at 30 at 3% increase, every 17 years, something doubles. It's been at 25 or 30 for 30 years. So, We've saved for a while. But it's up, I'm just looking for people to chime in. Tim, what do you think? Do you have a number in your
I have
head?
no, I don't care. I mean, I don't need it raised from me, but if you're looking for qualified people, obviously you have to go higher.
I'm just trying to keep it in line so it doesn't
That's-
become,
yeah.
you know.
I think 50 is fair for, again, having qualified people on committees, and so I think that's a fair number after no increases for so many years.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know if that's one of your questions, or when they go to Sandy's office and they want to fill out a form as far as what they're interested in, what group, do they say, hey, how much do I get paid? I mean, I don't know if that's even a question to them.
I personally haven't had it come to me when people are asking to be on boards, but maybe Sandy does. I don't know.
I didn't even know you got paid for those committees when I first started,
I didn't either.
so.
But is that something that comes up?
That information is not on their volunteer or inquiry sheet, and I've never been asked, so.
If they're doing it for the money, it's kind of the wrong area to go.
Oh, I agree.
So,
I agree.
Just so everybody's aware, this would then be for the Plan Commission, for the Police and Fire Commission, for the Park and Rec Board. That's what I said. I just want, and I'm fine with it. I just want you to be aware that's $20 a meeting, 7 people, 12 meetings, 4 boards. It's about $7,000. That's all. I'm perfectly fine with it. Just letting you know that every decision has a consequence.
$7,000 total. $7,000 total?
Increase,
running of
yes.
the bill for the
Oh,
running of the village.
$7,000 increase.
However, if, for example, if a park board meeting gets canceled, then there's, 50 times 7 people, $350 that don't get paid.
Correct.
So, when there's a meeting that gets canceled, so 7,000 is the total amount, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that much.
And just for clarity, that is specifically towards you mentioned 3 boards, right? Or park board?
It's at least 3. So,
You have Park, Plan Commission,
Joint.
Police and Fire Commission, the Joint Plan Commission, because that's joint and architectural. You have that Plan Commission, you have the Park Board, and then you have the Police and Fire Commission.
Library board would not be. Got it.
Separate. Got it. I'll make a motion to approve $50 for people that are on committees. That does include trustees and people, members of the board. But it's $50 a meeting for those committee meetings.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve an increase to $50 per meeting from the $30 for the committee meetings, the Park Board, Plan Commission, Plan Commission and Architectural Board, which is a joint commission, and Police and Fire Commission. Any discussion?
Will this start then January 1st?
we'll do it for next year,
Ryan?
correct? Yep. We would do it. I do have a question while we're on it, and it's something you guys should broach with them. Does Delhart pay you for the meetings at all?
Yes,
Yeah, they pay $80.
100.
So they went from 80 to 100. They used to have a meeting every single month, and they'd pay $40 a meeting. And then they just had really light agendas, so they said, let's meet every 2 months, but we'll just double it because it's going to be a longer meeting. So they pay $80, and now it sounds like they went to 100.
It's been 100 for 2 years that I'm aware of.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll start it. So if you recall, the boards and commissions get paid at the end of the year. So it'll be $50 per meeting, all paid in December next year.
Okay. Did I call the question?
Yep.
I did. I said all. Did I call?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Now we have a presentation of conceptual drawings for proposed police department, village hall, community center, and fire department buildings by Keller. Devin, take it away.
Alrighty. I don't know, can we pull those renderings that I sent? Look at that, he's on it. So, we have the renderings to go over. I believe the board has seen them, so we'll kind of breeze through those. The main thing I want to talk about was the timeline. So, from the site, and I guess if there's any questions, chime in, but From the site, they did a survey looking a lot better. There's some pushing around of things that need to be done. We're still making some minor changes within the building, but from a property perspective, it's a good property, it'll work. I think we're good on the site. Any questions? We can go to the rendering. And we've seen this a couple times, so.
I have a question on it.
Yes.
I'd asked you this the last time. Is there a reason we didn't just go straight across and just have a straight building? Because it's cheaper just, instead of going in and then kind of having two different angles on the front of the building, just to go straight across? Wouldn't it be cheaper?
If you're ever looking for a job, we might hire you. That is a very, if the architect was here, he'd have something different to say. I would say yes and no. So
And I'm not talking about the way it looks. I mean, obviously you can do things with it this way, but I talked to someone who's in construction, they said, yeah, it's cheaper just to go straight.
100%, you are correct. It is precast, so making those cuts in and out isn't that big of a deal. However, you are correct, it is more cost effective.
It's just because it seems like we have enough room for people this way, but should we ever need extra offices? I mean, with a building like this.
Yep.
But these offices are all filled, pretty
Yes.
much. So if we ever do need, let's say, 3 more offices, if we started out, and I don't want to spend more money, I'm just saying, maybe, I'm proud. If we did just do it straight, you'd have more room.
Correct. You could.
How much, would it cost a lot more or less?
To keep the same square footage?
No.
Oh, to add that?
Yeah.
Add quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably.
Oh, okay,
I think,
is it cheaper to build it now, or if we need it in the future to add on? Not putting increase in cost of everything,
I mean, if it were mine,
yes.
I would add a couple offices. And the reason being, this really, I'm sure I've shared the story before, because it's really left an impact on me. In Waukesha, the fire chief, so he's the head of police and fire now, but the previous fire chief, who was the fire chief just a couple of years ago, and then he, handed off, started off in a garage, and then they needed a different garage, because that one was too small. And then they needed to go to the old brewery. And then the city purchased a building for police and fire, because they were never going to grow out of that building. That building was just huge. They could have both police and fire. And then that got too small, and then they had to kick police out. So he is now on his 6th building. So every time a municipality says, we're never going to grow, this is more than enough, I find it very hard to believe. So I do think that you will probably need some offices in the next, if you don't build them now, you're going to need them before 20 years. 20 years is a long time.
I just don't see any room for expansion in this, they're all spoken for, let me put it that way.
We have no additional offices right now. Very few. I would say on the police side,
That kind
I
of
think
defeats
there's
the
some
purpose
growth.
a little bit.
What's that?
Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? I mean, shouldn't we have, I'm not trying to spend more money, but if we're gonna do it, why not have a couple little extra square footage? Because I think we are going to need them.
Well, I would agree with you. I would say the reason where we came to this is because we were every penny.
All right,
I do think it's a good idea, though.
we're gonna get bad emails, I can tell.
I'll just tell the architect to squeeze a couple offices right in the middle of
It just, when I looked at it, everything was full in there. I thought there'd be a couple extra offices,
wanna make
and there
a
just
comment?
isn't.
I mean, we took that into consideration for the police services. So we do have some expansion that we can grow into over time. Obviously, I can never predict what policing will look like in 50 years. That's just crazy long for what technology and things can change it. But I think for us, both on the garage side and office side, we added in for some very slow, steady growth to try to build this building for the next 50 years for us. The biggest one of that is probably our evidence room, as that was probably the biggest pinch point that got this started for us,
Right.
where we wanted both the evidence room and the lab where we process evidence to get it into the storage room to be sufficient for our needs. And right now, those are two areas that I would drastically call us deficient on right now.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I'm
Fair enough.
I think, my guess is, I'm only guessing, that the architect has it shaped the way it's shaped because of the architectural component of it looking more welcoming. You have some green space in there and you're walking across that as you go into the main entrance. I'm guessing that that's why that's there.
That is.
And I would
yes.
hate to see that go away. I know right now, and just throwing it out, right now, we do have one office upstairs that is unused, the old administrator's office. And there's two offices on here that are slated for future office that are being built. Oh, sorry, there's a third office that's slated, and I do agree, we want to have a little bit of extra room. I just, that's gonna get dicey when we're in the paper, and it's like, there's all these extra offices, and we just built them for the future because of the cost of things. But I don't, you want to have some room, but we have 3 incorporated. If you look at the square footage of that, I mean, that's 1/6 of that building. Actually, it's 1/4 of, almost half of admin, and you would be doubling that. That's not going to come at a free expense. Or even
Tell
a
you
minor
what, can I sit with the architect and email Ryan to then forward to the board an update on exactly what was built in for future?
can. I like the way it looks now.
Well, I don't know that
I like the welcoming aspect
okay.
of it.
Okay. All right.
But yes, you can.
Okay, so then I can talk more intelligently, because I don't have a good answer right now, so.
Well, I think one of the reasons why I don't want to say didn't show any expansion is because we're landlocked and we're not going to get too much bigger
Right.
without annexation. And I don't see too much annexation coming our way. So I think that was the reason why we made it as the way we did.
I do like the green space in front too. I mean, it
I
would
do
look
too.
very penitentiary-like if we just cut it off at the
that's-
parking lot,
Yep.
It's got a welcoming look to it by having that.
And there's future office.
One other area that quickly changed. Could possibly change for us is obviously, it's my understanding Arrowhead did request that annexation. That could be an additional 2 school resource officers, which will take one of those planned future office spaces. And we did plan that in for school resource officer. I just didn't know if it was gonna be, I didn't plan on it being Arrowhead annexing in. I thought maybe one of our existing schools would be doing that because we had some conversations over the last couple of years with them, so that we could also see that happen in the near future as well. So it's just, if any of us had a crystal ball that worked, we probably wouldn't be sitting here today, but that's just hard to determine what some of that looks like.
Should we head to the rendering?
Sure. Yeah. Unless anybody has more questions on that.
If you want to go to the the pretty picture one, there we go. If you want to zoom in on the top
Devin, go ahead
one.
and just keep on talking. I'm just running.
So from the building construction, there's a couple different ways. So it could be a full masonry building. However, just with cost, utilizing precast, you can inset some masonry into the precast. And it kind of keeps that nice municipal masonry aesthetic. I would say it's more of a classic municipal building. I mean, you get into kind of these larger, more newer municipalities like a Sun Prairie, you're going to get a lot more, kind of more of a modern vibe to it. This is a more classic. I mean, it could be built in the 50s or today, and it's going to look pretty good yet. Any questions on exterior? We're gonna get Jeff's face and put it on one of the flags?
No,
Are
no.
we still putting a gate across for the back parking lot?
Yes. That is the plan. It'd probably be kind of a fancier one.
One thing,
In
can
the
I,
front view, we changed it a little so that people could walk from Lake Country Pets to Beebles, Beebles to Lake Country Pets. You'll see a pathway all the way across that front. We wanted to make it a walkable area for people to go to the Sendix or Bed Barn or anything like that, and in and out of there and be able to walk.
just something to think about. Now, this would just be signage. May want to look at a couple ideas on, I may want to ask that we are able to look at a couple different ideas on signage. I'm saying this as an outsider moving in, like when I came to Hartland and even this building here where it's like police department, municipal building, community room and all this, I'm like, whoa. Where I almost feel like I wish it was, this is just an idea, but I wish it was like municipal building, that people are able to say, come to the municipal building, and then maybe even if it's at ground level or whatever, then we have certain signs that are directing people that say, you know, police department, just throwing it out there.
I like that.
I like the idea of it just being the municipal building instead of like I see on here, nothing wrong with it, but it says police department, like, okay, that's the police department building, but more so we want to get them in the doors to go there. And we do have the community center and we'll have signs directing people for voting. I just think it's, because it's ours and obviously with, you know, being our municipal building, I think it'd be nice to, just something to think about. We get them into the parking lot, there's your municipal building, and then we have, you know, little signs, kind of like at campus at WCTC, where once you're in, then it kind of directs you where you need to go in a good way. Just something to think about.
Because I think we have, I forget the gentleman's name, but the so-and-so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, we could make that larger and that can be the, but yes, we could look at some different options.
And I'm just throwing things out as they are. Like, I've never really been that big on, like, a big sign that says community center, because it's like, it's our municipal building, and within it, you know, we have a community room, I think is what we're really building, but I'm just throwing out.
I like it.
Sometimes a lot of signs is almost too much.
I would agree.
There's only the one door going in though, right?
One way for the garage?
I meant for citizens,
Yes.
to come in, there's only the one door.
Yes, that'll be
Okay.
a main entry for everything.
Chief, your thoughts on PD?
Actually, though, I think there's two entries, right? There's that glass corner, and then if you go north from that glass corner, there's a second entry.
Yes, I think it'll depend a little bit on how you want to use your hardware and locks. If that'll be, because you're probably not going to want people to access the community room all the time. So that door, I'm assuming, will be locked most of the time, except when you have. So most of your traffic is probably going to go through the main, but for like voting, I think you'll have to, depending on how you do it, I'm sure you use both entries to get them in and out as quickly as
So there's
possible.
doors up here, so they would walk here and then they could walk into the PD or the village hall. Okay.
On the corner,
Come around the corner on the sidewalk, it looks as if there's an entrance.
that's the main entrance.
Right.
This is also an entrance
Oh, okay.
into the.
There's a emergency exit on the other side, on the west side.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that door to the community room would only be open for like voting stuff or,
I think when it'd be in use.
right. It wouldn't be an everyday open for
Right.
citizens.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I just want to add, it might be open if you have, because remember that will have a split capability where you can split that community center. So you may have one class that comes in that way and signage for another class to go into the other way, so they don't interrupt classes or things of that nature. So it may be open, but yeah, probably not an everyday, all-day thing.
But Ryan, the community room has two inside doors. So that if
Correct.
they were divided in half, they wouldn't interrupt each other, right? Or am I looking at
Depends
this
where they're
wrong?
coming from, yeah.
Okay.
I know you asked a question about the police department.
Yeah.
We kind of went off on the exits a little bit, but we spent a lot of time talking through the police department. I think it sets us up for decades into the future. Both garage space, which is a huge deficiency that we have now, and then also office space, processing space. When I talk about evidence, all the pinch points we've identified, I think this layout very efficiently and effectively accommodates that. We've also tried to duplicate space where we can use space for multiple functions, so it's not just used for just this one thing. An example of that is we have a very nice training room / EOC room / briefing room that you can enter in right off the lobby. So we could actually host trainings, get free spots for our officers by hosting trainings here and have others come and attend. And everyone can enter and exit into that area without even coming through the secured police department area. So they have access to bathrooms, they have access to that room, whether it's for training, whether it's for briefings, because we'll have outside entities, SWAT team, major investigation unit, sometimes federal partners and other partners from other agencies. And we don't have to worry about that coming in and out through the different secured areas of the police department. And then we would operate any EOC out of that building. That would be our emergency operations center. And again, we can do that right off the police department lobby without having to worry about any on background staff or just people for that matter coming through the restricted areas of the police department. So I think we got a really good flow going. It makes sense where we have each of the different locations. We've changed things. When we had it at Hartbrook Park, it was a little bit different shape. So we retooled it for this site and then just kind of had to flip things around to make it so it flowed very efficiently. But I think we have a very good concept out. One thing I added over the last couple of months just to look into, because I didn't know what costs would be, and I know I shared it with some of the board already, was a firearms range capacity within a small, like 2 or 4 lane firearms range for 25 yards, which would accomplish our state qualification requirements annually. One thing that's come up on that front is we use outdoor range at Oconomowoc Lake, which we've been told now for the last 2-ish years, maybe 3, that will be going away at some point, depending on development coming through in that area. And then WCTC has a range that we do utilize from time to time. We typically at least use it twice a year, or I shouldn't say that. We use it for 2 different blocks of training. So it could be to get all our staff through it. We'll have it for like 3 or 4 different days, but it'll be one training course. Just staff go to, because I can't send every staff member to one training because we'd have no one covering the street, and they would have to work different patrol shifts. So we do that typically twice a year in winter time, December, March. And then we do the outdoor stuff in that June, September timeframe, August timeframe. So we could not get in at WCTC in March this year. They are booked. We barely got dates for December. So it's just insane on everyone's kind of utilizing that range. And it makes it sometimes problematic for us to get in, even though we've been a long-standing client. So that was something where I thought we could do this more efficiently instead of doing days like that. We could literally do it on shift and just pop into the range, do your courses of fire, and then get back out on the road and cover patrol. So it'd be a little more efficient and effective for us that way. Obviously, costs come with ranges. I didn't know what that would look like. You would need some type of berm, whether that's a steel trap, rubber berm. You would need some type of ventilation system. We got some pretty rough numbers. They were a little higher than I thought, but they were roughly about that $500,000 mark for those systems, and then some sound deadening. I have not sat down with the range consultant people yet, just because of some availability around the holidays, but I do want to kind of that's just all in emails, so I kind of want to get an understanding of what that looked like in actual conversation. some of the thoughts on doing it would be, we could go and have a basement where it could go down underneath the building from the garage, like we have a little mezzanine area right now for some storage. We could do that same concept, keep that down into a basement area. I forget what the square footage would be, but I think we needed roughly, I think it was like 35, and this is in yards, but it would be like,
I thought we were like 1,500, 2,000 square feet.
yeah,
so it would
roughly
work.
about that, for that 4-lane type range. Nothing fancy, no turning targets or moving targets. We just use target stands, have a berm, and just take it from there. One thing that can be problematic when you add square footage and different stories, I guess, if you mezzanine goes up, range would go down. I think it's code, if it's a combined 3,000 square feet, the state's code requires an elevator, which now that jumps the cost even more. So we're trying to work within all those parameters and come up with something that would be very efficient for us to use, but then very cost effective for us to implement as well. One other thought I had, if the basement idea caused us to go over square footage requirements, to add that elevator, which is something that I really don't want to pay for, nor do I want to maintain over time. It was maybe add something off the east side of the garage building. All these options have pros and cons. The con to that we would eliminate that drive that connects it back to Sunny Slope for the public, more than likely. There wouldn't be room for that. PD would still be able to get either side because of our garage, but the public wouldn't be able to come in either side off of Sunny Slope if we were to do something that on the east side of the building off the garage side there. So those are just something we kind of threw out. Greg and Devin been kind of looking through it and figuring out how cost effective that would be for us to just add that while we're doing this project. And we're still kind of crunching some numbers and what that space would look like.
You said it's twice a year that you go for the state testing?
So it's 2 different trainings a year. We go 4 times to get everyone through, plus with our instructor date. So it'd be 8 times a year at WCTC, and then another 8 at Oconomowoc Lake. So if we lost all
for
the
each officer?
For the PD. So like, try to explain this. So let's say every year I have to do a state qualification. So let's say we send our officers. I don't have just 1 day of training for that, because someone's got to be working the road. Someone worked the road the night before. Someone's got to work the road that night. So we have, and then there's off days, vacation days, stuff that I got to work through. So we'll have 3 different training days that are that same lesson plan, but a handful of officers come to each one. And you got to watch, because if I had all 18 officers come to one training, they'd get like 10 minutes worth of training in that block.
And I get that. I'm saying, but each officer has 2 different trainings, 4 different trainings.
4 times, we train quarterly.
Okay. So it's 4
firearms,
times to get state certified.
4 times, not state certified is just 1 qualification, but training, our firearms training, deadly force decision making, marksmanship, long guns, less lethal, all that stuff comes into this, which actually equals into like not a lot of time to do a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. That's 4 times a year they train.
Okay.
So again, it would be schedule wise about 16 days a year that we got to schedule some type of range facility for the police department's use as a whole.
Sure. And I'm just trying to weigh in my head the money of it. It's coming on kind of late, and trying to think, and I don't even know what it costs at WCTC or wherever we go. I think
it's usually like $1,000 or maybe $1,200 a quarter. I think we're spending there to rent.
Okay.
So if we were to build something like that, would we be able to lease it out to other facilities? So it could be a moneymaker then as well.
Yeah, we could do something like that. Obviously, we have limitations on staff to do that, but I'm sure we can figure out what that would look like. And I'm sure there'd be departments in the area that would like to utilize that because they don't have the availability, and ranges are going away faster than they're being created. So like Menominee Falls will be losing their outdoor range here shortly. A lot of those things are going away. So it just makes it difficult. The other problem is like when we hire a new officer, one of the things we're required to do is obviously firearms training with that officer before they become able to go out onto the street and carry our issued duty gun. That's one thing that's been problematic for us because that's something we don't know till we know kind of thing. I don't know a year in advance what day I need to get the range solidified. So like, I think our last person, we had to shoot at 8 o'clock at night, right? Yeah, on a Sunday or something. I mean, and again, for us, we work 24/7. That's not the end of the world. We'll make that work. But just to show that the availability is going in the wrong direction, it's getting harder and harder to find good training facilities to do those things. Not knowing what the cost was, I was hopeful it was gonna be a lot less than that for a berm and a ventilation system. I was a little surprised with that when we got that back.
Right.
But again, I don't know if they know the.
And I don't want you feeling slighted by me. I just hear the numbers. I'm like,
Yep.
and I think about the community too, of all of a sudden they're like, oh, now we need just everything. You said it was just an evidence room,
Yep.
and we didn't have it in the forefront. So I'm just,
Yep.
you know how some people, it's the same thing. And I mean, we've all talked about it. You know, you get out with some kids and throw a football, and it's gonna be like, why aren't you doing your job? You know how it is. There's people that just chirp, and it's something to think about. But I don't know if the cost offsets.
Right. Yeah, I figured if it was a couple $100,000, I thought that would be a no-brainer for a building that's going to take you 50 years into the future. But we'll have to see what that ends up looking like.
Is it something that you think we will absolutely end up needing anyway?
Again, it's not getting easier to find range time.
My concern is actually the change in training, because you don't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen 25 years from now, where all of a sudden they're like, no, you have to do this monthly.
If
Because there's, whatever.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
been
we always
accidents.
have those requirements. They could add a rifle state qualification.
Sure.
They could add, the state can add all kinds of unfunded mandates, as you see all over the place. They do those things from time to time. Not knowing that, though, I will say if Oconomowoc Lake were to shut down their range, we'd be scrambling, for sure.
One of the things that I was thinking about, just so if I could be, I'd want to go and talk to it, but talking to some of the private businesses that we have to see if maybe there's something we could do in tandem where it makes it real easy on PD to be able to work with them. Maybe the village is a partner in some way, or even it helps to get it going. But then they can be leasing out for other officers, but maybe we aren't, we're automatic right of first refusal, and we get in, we're all set up, still right here in the village. I mean, that would save some money, but it's right here in the village, and you'd have your ability to go into these ranges and have your scheduling. I'm just trying to think it through.
Yeah, I don't know of any facilities that have ranges in the village, but if there were to one come in, I'm sure.
If they were to build them, I guess. is
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
right.
Or convert a building into possibilities, so.
Chief, doing a little,
It's that tiny.
doing a little Googling, they've got these mobile gun ranges built in containers, 40, 53, or 103 foot setups that come basically ready to rock with ventilation systems on them. Is that something you guys have looked into, or do you know anything about any of that kind of stuff?
That's actually what kind of got us thinking, like, hey, if these are fairly cost-effective systems, that's where I was kind of thinking, could this be, if we had the square footage, could that be something just as cost-effective? I didn't really look at putting like a Connex box on the side of the building, just because I didn't want it to look kind of.
I'm thinking like off-site, maybe DPW land, something like that.
Yeah,
where we maybe
something
have room
like
for
that.
a container.
We could possibly make work, yeah, absolutely.
Just something to think about.
Yep, but that is kind of what got us thinking with the issues with getting range days, and then how cost-effective some of these systems are coming out with. It was like, well, we should not just let this opportunity go by without knowing what it is, because I had no idea. I would, if you would have told me how much it cost,
Yeah, $500,000,
I would have had a guess.
Cool.
Chief?
Should go to the fire station? We can start at the site plan for that one.
Before we jump, nothing else, Chief, that you're thinking of? I mean, you've looked over the plans, obviously, I'm guessing, looked and been part of you guys creating this and meeting. I mean, nothing else. Right now, it's just that range. and maybe a little bit of maybe, but other than that, nothing else that's jumping out at you. You're good with the layout,
Yeah,
and evidence room and stuff.
We've gone over that layout, I would like to say like 1,000,000 times, over the last year and a half-ish or whatever it's been. Obviously, it changed a little bit when we moved from Hartbrook, but not drastically.
Sure.
We just had to, because of the shape, had to rearrange some things. But the square footage really remained the same. It's just where we plugged it, so it made sense. So like, for example, when we moved over to Hartbrook and the new more rectangle shaped platform allowed us to lay out in a different capacity, where it ended up moving initially all our supervisor offices to the back of the building. I didn't want to be I wanted to be where things were happening so I could supervise and not have to walk across the building to figure something out. So we kind of moved some of that stuff around. That's where you'll see the detectives are back there working cases. And then we moved up to the front, right where we're by that lobby window access. And I'm right there with my clerical staff, because we are doing open records and stuff, all processing reports to the DA like crazy all day, every day, with our clerical staff. So just trying to find maximizing our use without having to walk across the place all over it. So I think we really hit it and thought of every little thing. I mean, all the way to a door opening in the locker room we talked about, to make sure when you walk by you couldn't see right into the locker room and
Sure.
it didn't hit someone standing at their locker.
And I trust
And
that
we
you've been
did
looking
all
at it.
that
I just want to
stuff,
make
so-
sure that you're good with.
Yep. And we purposely, if you see that booking room small, that's by design. I have no desire to hold prisoners here. If I need to hold them here, then we want to process and we want to get them to county jail if they're going to jail.
Sure.
And if they're not going to jail, we want to get them out of here and release them to wherever they need to go quick, because I don't have the staff. We have to sit and watch those people. I don't have staff just sitting in a booking room to watch people that should be just going to county jail in the first place. So very efficient, but I think it gets us, like I said, not knowing the future, I think it gets us decades into the future with some
It'll be a heck of a lot better than what we have.
This would be light years ahead of what we had. I mean, leaving a 100-year-old building and the design that we've had to make work. I mean, we're talking offices instead of closets. We're talking like our evidence lab's a huge one. You've all been in there. We can't have more than one person in there processing evidence. We have none of the current safety standards to test unknown powders. So, and some of that stuff we need to do right away to hold people in jail we need that probable cause to hold someone. We can't just say,
Right.
oh, I bet that white powder's fentanyl. We have to do the testing to say
Yep.
it's fentanyl to hold them in the jail appropriately. So all those things would be what we'd be able to function and do with this new facility.
Thank you.
All right, fire station. We are still on the same lot, so not a lot has changed. We've done a survey. Some of the stormwater management lines are encroaching very closely to the building, parking lot areas, so something we'll have to keep in mind, but can we make it work? I would argue yes. It's just something to keep in mind in case we gotta shift things around a little bit down the road. We're gonna have to deal with that later, but nothing really changed from the outside. I think it's consistent with what we've been looking at. So if you want to go to the rendering, just kind of the elevation of the outside of it. Again, precast looking building, fairly straightforward. We got, the overhead doors. Any questions on that? Comments?
Chief and Casual, what are your thoughts?
Love every inch of it.
A lot of, obviously a lot of conserving on what we want to do with our space and the design of the outside of the building. Biggest thing is still kind of giving it that look of a fire department, not just like a set of garage doors and this and that are in front. So still make it have that, all right, if you're going by this is what the fire department is. And people can see, okay, the glass doors, fire trucks are inside there. The signage that will have the old bell that will be incorporated with it on the outside. And then, the station identifier, which is the 43 that you see on the top there. All Waukesha County Fire Departments are designated by a station number, essentially. So ours is 43, which has been the 43 number for 25 plus years now. But everything is always identified as a different number, and it's not a station 1, a station 2 in that jurisdiction. It is the 43 for the county. And a lot of that was just going based off of that unit dispatching through the county over the last 2 or 3 decades. So resemble that as, yes, this is station 43, because for say 50 years from now, we have to build another fire department. We actually have a pre-designated number that is already set aside for us if we ever build another one. So we have that number ready to go for us. And a lot of it was, hey, if you ever need to grow, do you need one now? So we don't have to worry about it later down the road. And it's just a number that sits way off in the end now. So.
You see there's a railing at the top. What?
Like in the center section there?
Yeah.
So that is our hose tower. So what it is a combined hose tower, which will dry all of our hose that's in the fire department, instead of having the big hose dryers that are sitting in there. So we hang them up and allows them to dry more effectively, preventing mold growth and everything. But it's also a training component. So there's actually a ladder system or a stairwell in there that you can use for aerial training practice. So there's a couple doors that you see. Those 2 gray ones are on that first the top left there. Those are actually open windows that they can use for ladder practice. So crawling in and crawling out, putting the aerial device up to it and things like that, so we can continue doing on-shift training at the station and allowing it to have that functionality.
For the, if you look on the right-hand side when looking at the 43 and looking at the front of the building, like from, let's call it Bell side.
Yep.
Is that a 2-story, or are those just windows that are up there and that's all 1 story?
That is, so there's a
Storage.
mezzanine. So it's
Yeah.
a storage mezzanine above the command bay there. So it's a taller ceiling height in the command, or like the small utility vehicle access.
And it's gonna be one of those
Yep.
like mezzanine stairways
Yep.
that goes up, and then you got a mezzanine up there, so no need for an elevator.
Nope, no need for an elevator.
I like it with the 43 being red. One thing that we'll end up having to talk about, I'm guessing that's gonna be internally illuminated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk about, because the residential component that has to do with plan commission, a lot of time, I mean, so we're gonna put this on, but then it's like the thing's gotta shut off at 9
Yeah.
o'clock and during the summer, you know what I mean? You won't be able to see it all night. Just something that we're gonna wanna all think about. I would like to see this, just my opinion. I'd like to see the Hartland stuff pop, and I'll tell you why, because you guys on the fire department, I've only learned it from being the village president, but it'd be like 43. I'm not taking away from respect for you, but you guys know, just like you guys know military time, you guys know 43 and what it stands for. I wouldn't want someone driving through and being like, oh, I wonder if that's a racing team.
Yep.
You know, if someone didn't know and they were kind of,
Yep.
they might think that, but I think if we had Heartland Fire in there a little more.
Yes.
But it does look like that'll be lit up out in front on the lower sign anyway.
Yes.
So okay.
Correct.
Just throwing in my 2 cents as well.
Overall, I really like the look. I like the glass doors in front. I like the use of red. I think it really looks sharp.
I would like the 43 to stay on all the time, is what I'm kind of saying, so we want to make sure to look at lights. There's lights that that give off a lot less light pollution
Absolutely,
than
right.
others.
Just
And
a
that can even be
backlighting on
dimmable
it.
during normal hours, and at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, it goes to a real dim down because it's dark, so you can see it so much easier.
Yep. Exactly.
Just something to think about. Anybody else?
Sharp.
Anything you want to add, Chief?
Nothing to add. I mean, we're set for a while. We have there's the 4 extra areas, which will be storage areas initially, and then if the department expands to a more full-time model, that we have 4 extra bunks that we can, can make for that, so otherwise, everything else, just what we were looking for and a lot more room and.
I don't know if this is how we originally were with it backed up to the south, but I actually like it more. Like the back of the building is to the south. I don't know why, but I do like it more when looking at the overview. How we have it, where it's kind of backed up to our property line, it just goes straight across. At first, remember we were on the other side trying to work it. I do like this more.
What will be nice with that too is the building itself will drown out noise. So we have had nights where we've had longer trainings in our parking lot. I've had a few residents here and there say, are you guys going to finish your training because the sound of the trucks running, things like that. So we are usually more respectful of not running trainings too late there with apparatus, but having the building drown out that sound now will prevent that being the apparatus more on the riverside than on the actual residential side.
Yeah, I do like one of the biggest things that I was thinking about, even though it's not the most important, but I was thinking, and I had said to Devin, I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. Like, we want to be cost effective, but we don't want it to just look like, hey, we went to IKEA and picked up the building and threw it up, you know what I mean? So, not that there's anything wrong with IKEA, but I'm just saying we wanted it to have it aesthetically pleasing and at the same time get it for a decent price. And I think there's a lot of classic components, even with the arched doorways and stuff like that look really nice, that probably aren't, I can't imagine that's that much additional cost to have just those little bit of architectural touches, I believe, for the whole community that adds, it's nice.
Yeah, and again, those would be the concrete panels with the precast.
But and I think it looks nice. It has that, I'm even gonna say it, that nostalgic, going back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s when they were building firehouses, and even back to the 30s, it has that, it gives that feel to it.
Absolutely.
Instead of it just being like, it's a building built in 2026, 27, so. And with PD, I'm just throwing out my two, I think everything looks really nice. I think we'll have some tweaking. I do think looking at these buildings, in my opinion, based on what I've seen both departments use, even if we were to grow quite a bit, I have no doubt that departments will make them work. I do think we got to try to predict the future a little bit, but I think in the long run, I would feel confident looking at these and having talked with you guys some, even previous to this, that we're in a heck of a lot better spot when we do this, that we are, we're set for some time pending major changes. Obviously, if all of a sudden someone wants to come in and we take on, 5,000, 6,000 residents, yeah, that makes a change. But I do think for both buildings, it really sets us, I think it sets us up for the future, and I think it does a solid for the village and just taking some of these little components and, I've always said, capturing our history as we walk into the future. And I think that, obviously people in Hartland really love their history, and there's a lot of people that have given to the community. And a lot of people served in this department. So I think I think both buildings, I think we're on a really good track, in my opinion. Anybody else wants to chime in, feel free.
I like what I'm seeing. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, likewise.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Can we go to the schedule? The fun part.
Me.
So, does he have?
The schedule, Ben, is what was emailed to you. It wasn't part of the packet.
That's all right. So.
Get the whiteboard.
That's okay. The reality is, we wanted to be, 6 months ago, we wanted to be drawing construction documents right now. And we wanted to be roughly a month into drawing construction documents. We are not drawing construction documents. And we're not drawing them tomorrow, and we're not drawing them next week, and we're struggling to get to that point. So, I thought initially be careful what I say, being fairly conservative, and I think I underestimated a little bit, and that's on me. So this process of working through contracts has taken some time. It's continuing to take some time. I don't know that I've gone through it like this before, but what does that do for the whole project? Well, you can't just make up time out of thin air. So if we don't start drawing construction documents, I mean, it just pushes everything back. So realistically, from kind of the big picture, let's say you get everything wrapped up by, we get everything wrapped up by February. That gives us 2 months. Start construction documents shortly after. You're probably not bidding out plans until, I would say, June. You're probably not approving anything until July, which means you're probably not breaking ground until August. Which then means you can start, but now you're starting in the middle of winter. PD doesn't really matter because that's ground up. Fire, that could have a pretty big impact. I mean, you don't really want to displace fire in the middle of the toughest time of the year to displace them. So that's a little, we'd have to work through that. But then also, I mean, big picture, PD, you start in September, you're probably talking moving them in January, February of 28, which is probably not what anyone, including what they want to hear, but I mean, starting right before winter, it's a very slow process. Like, we just did that at a different fire station right now. For that one in particular, it's not like they're spending more money or there's issues. We shut the site down I think we're shutting it down for 2 months at the end of this month, just because there's not much you can do in January and February, unless you actually have, so if we can do enough from September, October, November and start actually getting this thing built. For the one that we just did, we couldn't even get the foundations in this year, so we're just letting it sit. So I wanted to bring the unfortunate news. We're behind what we initially had hoped for. And I know with the land and everything else, I mean, things are moving along on the village's side very quickly, I would say. So not the ideal situation, but I want to let everyone know.
Can I just pose a question and just ask, is there something that the board can do that can help that along? And I know we have the things that are going on that has to do with whatever, the hiccups that we ran into with fighting out about state law and trying to sift through what's right and wrong on that. But is there anything that the board can do that makes it possible to begin drawing those plans? Or are you still sifting through details on how the building will look? Or is it simply those issues that are keeping those architectural plans from being able to be started?
I would say it's just those. I mean, there's a couple. I would say clarity. I think with you getting a little more involved, it'll help. Just
Okay.
Clear expectations and a clear direction. I understand there's a zillion different options, but that is not what we need right now. We need just this is the direction we want to go. This is what makes sense. Or if it's not, then we got to get a right path.
Yep. Okay.
It's been a little.
And I apologize, I didn't know sooner.
Yeah.
Or I would have jumped in sooner.
And I appreciate that.
We'll get it. I didn't know if there was something where, if all of a sudden the board, I can only speak for myself, but I want you to be made whole for any work, so I would never expect you to be like, yeah, we'll just start and trust you. That doesn't work in this game of just trusting. I didn't know if there was something possibly the board can do saying, we'll make it whole for getting those things started, considering we're on that plan. I didn't know if that helped.
I think we are, I don't know that there's anything you can do because that is just the one, this is the next step. And once that next step takes, then we can do everything. Because I got everyone chewing at my ankles to get this thing going. But,
right. And I'd like to see them be able to start so that they can start coming up with what will become the stamped drawings so that they can, the blueprints.
Right. Yeah, I think, I mean, from my perspective, it's, and maybe Ryan can give perspective at a later point, but it's been unique, so. So that is the main thing. I wanted to just let everyone know.
So to bring everybody up to speed, about, what, a month ago, maybe, I found out, or maybe it was a month and a half ago, but I found out and
Well,
started
I think
finding
in
out.
November, this is what happened. In November, I got frustrated and said, someone's got to tell the board that this is taking forever. And there was some discussions, and I said, well, if you're not going to do it, then someone's got to go in front of them, and someone's got to tell them that this is not going great. I said, we don't have to get into specifics, but they need to know. So I said, I'm going to the board, and I'm going in December, and all of a sudden that triggered a couple things to then get Jeff involved, but that was the
So
starting.
what happened is there's a state law, I mean, you know, I've been on the commercial side, you're way on the commercial side, a lot of you are, or have at least dealt with it somewhat. When you're a regular entity, so let's say you're Pfeiffer Industries, if you want to go get a building built, you can hire people to do however you want. You can put it out for bid, but you can have the person architect it, you can have the person carry it all the way through, a person you trust, you have them GC it. You go and hire Devin, and Devin's gonna GC your project through for you, you're the owner. You'll keep an eye on it as you want with Devin, you'll take stuff up with him, and boom, 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 you're working right through. All of a sudden you got your plans, all of a sudden you're breaking ground, Devin's taking care of all that, he's the GC. All of a sudden the Devin trailer comes in and you're all set and you're breaking ground. There's a state law that it sounds like it's up to interpretation when you get different people involved, but it just has some handcuffs on us, that are really loose handcuffs, but are handcuffs on us that they just, I don't even know I know what they're trying to protect. They don't want to just see someone be able to run away, and all of a sudden you get a board that's not as highly intelligent as this board that would allow things to happen, and all of a sudden money's getting wasted for our community. That's just my interpretation. So we've been dealing also with our attorney, who has a much stricter sense of this law than maybe Devin or myself do. And so I'm jumping into, I always call it getting out the clogs, to get in and start pulling out the plunger and being like, what's clogging things up? Because we're not going to just sit here with a broken toilet forever. I'm just analogizing.
So, and to clarify, we do this all the time. So the
True.
municipal side, it's, so where I see, and that's where I don't know, I got frustrated. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but everyone has their specialty. And you gotta lean on people's specialties, and you gotta know when to move away. What is legal, what is not? And we gave clear identification eventually on what was legal, what was not, and we cleared all of that up, so we're on the same page. And then what was legal, while it wasn't what was liked. And in my opinion, that's up to the board.
No one did anything wrong, and I don't want it to come off like I was saying that, but some of this is coming down to interpretation of this law, hence my...
I wouldn't even say the law, it's just, I don't like this. Well, that's...
okay, opinion. It's coming down to opinion.
Yes.
And so I just want the board to know it's not, trying to unclog the clogs.
Yeah, I think there's, and that's where I think the clear expectations, because it's clear, black and white on what the law is, but then opinion, I think the board has to get involved in clear expectations on what they want to see happen, and.
Yep. And I'm confident we'll be able to get there. I'm gonna be meeting with Devin, and I met with Hector, and just trying to get us honed in down the funnel, where we're all running on the same track in the same direction.
We're getting there.
Trying. So.
Devin, with the board seemingly liking the plans for the buildings, is there anything that would prevent architectural with moving forward with the next step at this point without maybe the next 2 or 3 steps being settled?
I think we're on, I think as long as the board is comfortable, I feel pretty good about the plans. We've done a lot of research on it. Usually, you've informed the community, they seem to know what's going on, so I think you're doing your due diligence, transparent, but I don't see a whole lot of issues that would come up.
I don't think the board does either, but I'll ask, does anybody see any issues? I just want you to be aware that we're all for
I think
it.
Ryan has done a fantastic job on making this all come together as well. He's put a lot of time and effort into it.
Tell you, I don't see any issues with us moving forward.
Yeah, because the next step is them
the
making
next step.
blueprints, and that's not cheap, and it's not cheap for them either.
Right.
You know,
It's a big commitment.
It's the next step that is going to happen,
is
and we
that-
are already all in agreement.
and it's a
on.
step that if it isn't done, even if all of a sudden we're all clear, we'd be waiting for plans, because you can't start without a plan or blueprints.
No problems.
Sure. I just want you to be aware of kind of where we sit.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I am in agreement with those guys. I like the plan. I think there's some inside information that you don't want to share with us, which, about some of those earlier meetings, which is understandable.
No, Tim, I'll share it. It's Hector is stating that his opinion is state law doesn't allow it, and it's like sifting through.
So what I was
stuff.
saying is if you guys agree, I mean, if you guys like the way we're going, and if you can work through that, then I see no reason why you don't start. I mean, go ahead and push.
That's kind of why I was asking, because that's what I mean by I'm trying to unclog the clocks, to say, okay, what needs to be done? Like, let's eliminate the barriers here.
Yeah, I mean, to Sandy's point, to Sandy's question, what do we have to do so that you can start the blueprints?
Sign a contract.
That's the problem. So there's a contract for the design and a contract for the GC. Kelly would like to be able to do both. And our attorneys essentially said they can't. So that's why we've talked about it, that we'll have to, I mean, unfortunately, we're talking about this in open session, but we'll have to go into a different session to talk about what we would like to do, and maybe have our legal there and Devin there to talk about what you guys want to do. Sandy and I have made clear what we would like to do, and it's similar to Devin, and our attorneys differ.
Can we have a contract just for the architecture, the plans to be done, versus wrapping all these other things into it, which is slowing it down?
If I were in your shoes, I would want it all done, because you're just delaying that headache down the road.
Wouldn't we also, though, potentially be moving things along so we can, that delay that's happening, we can work on that while still getting the process started with the blueprints?
Yes.
I'd like to see that. I want to get this thing going. I don't want a separate thing that is going to get ironed out, that we all want to get ironed out by the look of things. I don't want that to slow down the overall project by potentially months if we can get the process of the drawing started sooner than later with a secondary contract or whatever we want to word that as, just for the architectural.
I think it's worth discussing further.
And Tim, in all honesty, there's not any inside. I just found out a month ago. So I went and met with Hector to say, I mean, I was trying to do it by phone calls, but then it was like, I had to sit down and say, what's going on? Because it's not gonna be helpful to us if our attorney comes in and says, I don't feel comfortable with this contract.
Well, I just heard some grumblings that maybe some parties weren't very happy after a couple of meetings, so that's, I mean, I don't know what was involved, but I've just heard that's so.
Trying to sift through and find that out. I don't know. I mean, the meeting was productive. We met with Hector, and, but it wasn't solved. So it's trying to get people on the.
So then I guess as a takeaway from this, if it's possible to work with Ryan and put together 2 contracts or whatever, the contract for the blueprints right away. And then we'll work through the problems that you guys are bumping heads about right now and sign a contract for the rest of whatever moving forward as a secondary contract so we can get things started. I guess that's how I'd like to see that go.
I can certainly dig into it and see what I can come up with.
Our goal is to have this at the January 12th meeting, I believe. Is that correct, Sandy? Did I have a sticky on that? Do you remember?
I don't
Because
recall.
essentially, I want you guys to be able to decide. You're gonna have to listen to what legal says, what staff says, and what Keller says, and make a decision.
Was that closed session regarding the property more so?
Yeah, we could probably do multiple, but
And that's on the 12th?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't have that on my calendar either, so.
That was more the acquiring the property closed
okay.
session. But, I mean, we can expand on that certainly.
We could
Okay.
also call a special meeting, couldn't we? I think at least 120.
No, I can assure you though, and I do understand how it does it from the, all of a sudden hearing it here. I didn't realize it was, I mean, since it's out, I didn't realize it was behind as far as it was, and when I found out it was as far behind as it was, I mean, I felt compelled to at least jump in. I didn't decide anything on behalf of the board. I started having meetings to say just like if you or anyone would go and start asking to say, what is going on? Because at some point, everybody's gotta grab a oar or a paddle and start rowing in the same direction. Can't just have a boat spinning in circles and, at some point it has to, and it's crazy as it is, if you go drive around, there's construction projects that are done all the time and things get built but I'm trying to lighten the mood, but this isn't an impossible task we're facing. People do this stuff all the time. We'll get there. We're just gonna try to speed it up a little bit. We're gonna light some fires.
Perfect. That's all I had for tonight.
Anybody have any more questions for Devin, since he's here with this stuff coming to light?
Devin.
Great job, Devin.
Thank you.
Thank you. And happy holidays.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We have announcements.
You guys want to start?
Chief Jambrits.
Yes. Just some updates. We had made an offer to a gentleman for the one full-time position, and that didn't work out. So we just made an offer last week to another guy who's actually was on our department probably 15 years ago. He was one of our full-timers. He left and went to Pewaukee. He's been on the Pewaukee Fire Department, and he accepted the offer today, so he will be starting in February. We had a major breakdown of our gear washer, and I'm sure you'll see that on the next meeting. So we had it completely stopped working. We couldn't get any parts for it. It was over 25 years old. So we had ordered a new one, got that installed, so now the guys can wash gears again. Other than that, we're about 10 calls away from last year's number with a few days left, so they've been hopping again.
Only other thing to add on is January 1st, we're going to be switching over to what's called NERIS. So over the past 20 years, NFIRS, which is a National Fire Report Data System, is going to be closed down, and it's going to be switching over to a new version that provides better analyzation of data for fire responses within the nation. We were on the last tier of this program going live with the U.S. and of course, when it comes to the end of the year, we have to figure out how to build the system and get everything ready to go for the first. Of course, on a holiday, so it's hard to get people trained on it right away. But I've been working through that with Julie at the station, along with our reporting system, to make sure we got all of our ducks in a row ready to go for Jan 1 on this. So be switching over to that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Chief Misko.
Just a quick follow-up on the questions from the Joint Powers Agreement. Trustee Walschlager asked about why we have to have the extra paperwork. It is in the statute that we shall do it annually, so that's why we got to do it. And then the other question was in regards to if there was any penalty or remedy. There really isn't if you don't follow through with it, but there is remedy if you don't enter into it. And basically, in the statute, it says if a public safety agency fails to enter into such an agreement, the DOJ shall commence judicial proceedings to enforce compliance. So it doesn't, not like a fine or a criminal act, but DOJ will enter into a judicial proceeding and force compliance. So again, simple process, and we do use it for some of our accreditation standards. So thank you for approving those things, but I just wanted to follow up because those questions were asked and I wasn't intimately familiar with the verbiage in the statute.
Thanks, Chief.
That's all I got.
Mr. DeBarge, anything?
I do not, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Trustee Hallquist.
Merry Christmas as well.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
Or?
A Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, a couple quick ones. Just, I think we, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I know we did pretty well with collection of food and donations from Holiday Train, so that was great to see it go to our food pantries. While I was on the Holiday Train, one of the people from Hartland Food Pantry walked up and said, since the village over the years has been really helping, along with all of the other community organizations and clubs, the school, everybody really chipping in, that it's made a huge difference in the amount of stuff and food that they've collected and donations. So I think that that's fantastic. I'm confident we'll be getting the Holiday Train again. I did really stress to them that we were the first one in Southeast Wisconsin. I believe we were the first stop. So stress that to them. But it was wonderful that they came out and did that. Obviously, we're going through, people are doing a bang-up job for rec, fire, DPW, in getting that ice rink done. It's weather permitting. We had just gotten it frozen. Then the temperatures go up. It's going to be like that. We're in Wisconsin. I mean, it's tough. Sun can make a huge difference, even if it is below freezing. So anyways, everybody's doing great with that. And if you're in the community and it is frozen when it's open, enjoy it. I do hope that everybody has a wonderful Christmas, and with this being the last meeting of the year, I don't take it lightly, and I don't think anybody else on this board does, sitting in these positions. We ask a lot of questions all year long, but to all of you on staff, and if you could extend it to all your people, and if anybody sees Tom, tell him to extend it to his. Sandy, please take it to the people upstairs. But we know we ask a lot of questions, and we're doing our jobs too in trying to make sure to do what we do on the village board so that the village can run as great as it does, but none of that happens without any of you. So thank you so much for all that you do, and please pass that on to all of your people from the village board. I think it's been a good year for Hartland, and I don't want to waste time. I don't consider it a waste of time, but I think it's been a good year for Hartland. I think that this board, I do got to tell you, you guys, I'm honored to be a part of it. The changes that have been made when this board's been together has been outstanding. Not taking away from any boards before this. I think we're doing a really great job for this village, even when I'm out there and you ask, what can we do better? They're like, just keep doing what you're doing. I see other communities right now where they have people calling in because they have huge blocks of ice/leaves because of when the snow came, they didn't get to all their leaves. I mean, if you hit it with a car, it's going to be bad. Well, Wauwatosa, West Dallas, they have people calling them in so they can come in and use a front end loader to kind of scrape them up. But we didn't run into any of that in Hartland. All the way around from this board and all the way down, I really think Hartland is clicking well. So Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year. I hope it ends safe and starts safe, and honored to serve with you guys and looking forward to another year ahead.
Oh, Merry Christmas. I make a motion to adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting's adjourned.